Yo, 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 what's the dealio, man? Listen, you already know it's Saturday and I got a banger for you, all right? In this video, what I want to talk about is how to make big money in this market crash, right? That we about to have, all right? And also a couple little lessons I want to throw in there, all right? I want to arm you guys to not get faked out. So we got a couple things. We got the market crash, we got fake outs, right? And we got a couple lessons we're gonna sprinkle in here. So with that being said, man, be sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel. We are almost at 2,000 subscribers, okay? When we hit 2,000 subscribers, I got something that I want to do. A couple things that I want to do actually that's kind of special, all right? So be sure to subscribe to this channel, all right? And we're gonna get into it. So we had the last 2 days we had sell off. Really the second half of this week, past week, was all bloody, right? It was red. The job reports came out on Friday in the morning, and then the market, it just went down, right? So it's like, all right, where does that leave us? Okay, where does that leave us? So I want you guys to start understanding that, if you don't already understand, but you got to learn how to read each individual candlestick, okay? Now, here's why I say this. Because if you could read one candlestick, just one, you'll know where the market could be going. And the reason why is because if you could read one candlestick on the 5-minute, you know what a stock is about to do for the next 5-10 minutes. If you could read that same candlestick on the weekly time frame, you can see what's about to happen for the next 1 to 2 to 3 weeks. If you could read that same candlestick on the monthly time frame, you can see what's about to happen for the next 2 to 3 months. Okay? The anatomy of a candlestick is the same thing. Now, it doesn't matter the time frame. The time frame lets you know how much time this candlestick in this session is good for. So I want you guys to understand the power of being able to read these candlesticks. All right. So we have stocks sold off. Okay. So first things first, or the next thing is, I want you guys to understand also that the market is designed to go up. Okay. The market is designed to go up. Right? Stocks ain't gonna fall forever. And another thing that I have learned when I've been looking at the market and understanding it over time is when stocks come down, it happens fast. But when they go up, it goes a little slower. What do they say? It takes the elevator down and the stairs up. Okay? So when we have this market crash, we don't know where the bottom fully is gonna be at. We can look at levels, right? But we don't fully know where the bottom is going to be at. Now, en route to the bottom, you're going to have something called fake outs, okay? And also, this also may be known as something called a dead cat bounce. And I'm going to talk about a dead cat bounce. And another thing as well is, even though we're going to see some nasty red days, here's the thing about it, right? We're going to see some nasty red days. We're also going to see some great green days. You see what I'm saying? So don't think that when you see a stock down 5-7%, that it's going to continue to go down for the next 3 weeks, because it's not. All right? It's not. But in there is going to be some dead cat bounces, and so I don't want you guys getting faked out. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the charts and we're just going to talk about a couple things. All right? So let's do it. All right, so as you can see, so we got, so this is a SPY right here, okay? So where did the SPY break out from? That's what I want to put our sights to initially. Where did the SPY break out from initially? The SPY broke out from right here, okay? Like, and this is at 601, so when it had all-time highs, right? So we had a 3-bar right here, and then boom, it just broke out. So it broke out from this $600 level, broke above here, right? Those all-time highs, and then it just blasted off. All right, now we have all-time highs here. So we have a gap right here to fill. All right, boom. So we got a gap right there to fill. All right, it's going to get filled at some point. Now, this right here may be a dead cat bounce next week, okay? So we may gap down on Monday, right? We may gap down on Monday. Let me go here. So we could potentially gap down on Monday and then come up here, right, to fill this gap. And then we could come back down lower, right, over time to this gap right here, right? Because when you have these gaps right here, all right, and you're still kind of close to it, there's a possibility that it could come up and fill this gap before it comes lower, right? Or we close at 621. What we could do is we could open up a little higher. We could gap up a little higher. We could go up to fill this gap, right? And then we could come down after that. All right. That's a possibility as well. And this is on the SPY. All right. But these principles, they're for every stock. So all you got to do is learn how to look at the charts and read these charts, and then we could go from there. You'll be able to know what to do, right? But this was a 3-bar, and then boom, we had a 2-bar right here. Okay. So this makes sense. So if the SPY comes up here, right, back up to 631, let's just say, and it does not get above 631, then it's going to come back down. If it rejects off 631, it's coming back down, and that means that it just filled that gap right there. You see what I'm saying? So understand that if it comes up right here and it starts to look bullish again, what this could be is this could be a setup and a fake out. All right. So either a fake out or a dead cat bounce, either or. Now, what is a dead cat bounce? A dead cat bounce is, I want you to think about the actual phrase and what it means. Okay. So a dead cat. All right. A dead cat is dead. It's fallen. Right. So the market the SPY just went from 639 down to 621. All right. So that's a big drop right there. Well, for SPY being at 6 something, it's not a big, we talking about maybe about a 4% decline. But around here is when people start getting fearful, right? Because we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 days straight of red, okay, of red. So now people are starting to change their sentiment a little bit and getting a little bit fearful, right, of what's going on. Okay? And also, if you look at, let's look at this right here. If you look at this right here, the fear and greed index, look, it's now neutral. Okay? It's now neutral. So back in April, the fear and greed index was right here. All right. A week ago, the top of the week, the fear and greed index was right here at extreme greed. Okay. And this is why you never want to buy when a stock is at extreme greed or it's at greed. You never want to buy, shares of a stock when the fear and greed index is here, because these are all-time highs right here. That's euphoria. You got to wait until the pullback, and you got to wait until it comes around here. That's when you start to buy. All right. So that's the fear and greed index right there. Okay. So dead cat bounce. Stocks are dropping, they're falling, and then we go up. And it looks like we're recovering. It looks like everything is over. And then what happens after that? It comes right back down. Lower. Right? Comes back down lower. So I'm expecting a couple dead cat bounces until we come to the downside, and then we find the bottom of where things are going to be going. All right. Now, what could the bottom be? That's the question that I know everybody is asking. So you're never going to know where the bottom is at, right? You're never going to know where the bottom is at. And this is also why I love like day trading. Okay. And when I say day trading, what I mean is getting into a position and then riding that position throughout the day and then closing my position at the end of the day. Because if you catch a move on a stock that's $4 to $5, You could get 100%, 200% returns on your money in that day and be done. And that way, if the stock does go up, you could just read the price action that next day and then take that trade. Okay? So when we're talking about investing and swing trading, right, things could get a little bit confusing. And so when you swing trading, I just want to make sure that you aren't getting caught up in a dead cat bounce, getting into calls and then things drop. And it happens to all of us at some times, right? But what we could happen is we could have a dead cat bounce, come up a little bit and then come lower, right? And then we bottom out and then we bottom out and then boom. Now, here's what I want to show you guys as well, okay? Now look at this. For the month of August and September, the stock market, the way its performance goes, it usually August has down days and pullbacks, and then September usually is a little red, and then the last 3 months of the year, last 3-4 months, October, November, December, we have a run up. Okay, so let's go to last year. All right, let's go to last year. Let's look at the SPY. All right, and let's go to August of last year. Okay, let me show you guys some things. So this is in May right here, right? And this is off the daily time frame. Go to, so this is in June right here. All right. So we're going to, this is October of 2023. We want to go to August of 2024. All right, this is April of 24. And this is August right here. Okay, so look at this. This is in August of 2024, right? So on August 1st, the same thing happened. Look, the same thing happened on August 1st, right? The SPY had a bloody day right here. Okay, a bloody day. After it had just ran up from April, it ran up here, okay? And then in July, it started to pull back, and then it bounced up here, right? And then look what happened. On August 1st, boom. On August 2nd, and then on August 4th or 5th, boom, right? And then look what happened. Blasted right back off. All right, came back down in September, okay? And then for the rest of the year, basically rallied. Okay, had a little pullback in October, rallied higher, right? Boom, 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 boom. All right. By December, we was at all-time highs at 609. Okay? So that's what happened for a SPY. Okay? Let's look at NVIDIA real quick. Look at NVIDIA. Same thing. September. Okay, so look at August. Last year in August of 2024. Came all the way down to $92. Okay, $92 on August 4th or 5th. And then look at August 19th, we talking 2.5 weeks later, it was right back at 129. So it made a $30 move, right? Came back down in September and then boom, blasted off. Okay, let's see if Meta did the same thing. Okay, look at Meta. August, this is in July right here, blasted off. And then on August 4th and 5th, right? On August 5th, it was down here on 451, right? And then boom, went to the upside, right? So this is what happened. And then in September, right, had a pullback again, back to 500. It was at 451. And then boom, right, went back up. So it went up $100 in a month. Meta went up $100 in a month. All right. So why am I saying this? Yes, we're going to have some type of pullback. All right. I just showed you the history. Last August, the SPY did the exact same thing. The exact same thing. Right. And then the 4th and the 5th, SPY dropped a little bit lower. And then boom, we took right off. 2 weeks later, we was right back in the green above the previous highs that we just had. Right? So you got to understand what's going on here. You got to be able to start looking at these things, these pattern recognitions, these patterns, and be like, okay, I see what's going to happen. I see what's going on. Right? So we're going to have pullbacks, but those are just opportunities for you to, invest and then ride things back to the upside. All right? So if you do get into some swings, I would really say, like, if you enter in August, I would put your swings out, 2 months. Okay, if you're that type of investor, right? If you do weekly, if you swing weekly, you got to make sure that your entries are spot on and you're following the smart money as well. All right. So I hope that helped you guys. All right. I hope that you watch this in its entirety too, because this video could make you money and it could save you money as well. All right. So if you at this part of the video right here, put it in the comments. Be like, I'm ready for August. All right. I'm ready for August. Put that in the comments so I know you made it to the end of this video. I really hope that you guys are taking these videos and running with them. All right. Because this stuff could change your life. All right. Seriously. So hope that made sense. I hope it helped you out. Like I always say in every single video. All right. Make sure you get up out of your head and go get into this world, because your head is a dangerous place to live. All right. And also remember, the more you study, the less you worry. All right. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to see you guys on tomorrow's live. All right. I'm going to holla at you. Peace.